Hello, my crafty friends. Well, if you're watching the replay, you can see I'm set up here to spin a little bit. And so I'm waiting for people to get here before I actually get started. So it won't be long. I'm a couple of minutes early, so. Oh, it's been a long day already, and it's just 2 p.m. Hi, Candy. I'm glad you're here. I'm going to play a little bit. Let me see if I can get this where we can see a little bit more. There we go. I'm going to play. Well, I've been spinning a little bit since yesterday. I got this machine yesterday, and I spun a little bit on it last night. And this red right here is this, and that's all I've spun a little bit today just to see. Hi, Riri. I'm glad you're here. Anyway, I thought I would spin some more, but I wanted to kind of show you what it is I'm spinning right now. What I spun. This first part was the alpaca that I was talking about in my unboxing video. And this was just some merino top, just a scrap of merino top. And then this is a completely different preparation. So I wanted to talk about that just a little bit before I start spinning for a little bit. Hi, Holly. I'm glad you're here. So when Tanya was here, she gave us some fleece, and we washed it. This is part of a fleece that we washed that she gave us, and it was like 36 years old. I think she got it when she got her spinning wheel 36 years ago and never even opened it up out of the bag and used it. But we washed it, and this is what it looks like right after it's washed. So you can see there's still some twigs and stuff in it even after washing it, and it looks a little matted and all that kind of stuff. Hi, Mina. I'm glad you're here. Oh, well, thank you for coming. Have a safe dental appointment. I hope it goes well. Hi, Barbara. I'm glad you're here. And this is a fleece that she had dyed. And she dyed it just in the locks. And so it felted some. And so, you have to prepare it. You can't spin from this because of the felting. And that happens a lot often when you dye locks. But I used the hand cards, and I made a fluff ball out of this, and I made a fluff ball out of this, and then I put some of this and this together and made this heathered fluff ball in the middle. And so that's what I'm playing with right now on spinning. And I spun just a couple of minutes before I was able to come out here. I had too many other things to do, so I hadn't had a chance to spin yet today. But I am loving my little spinner. And I'm so glad I bought it. in spite of the few issues that they're having, since this is like the first production of it, so there's still some bugs to work out. But once those bugs get worked out, it's going to be amazing. It's quiet and it's smooth, and I'm very happy with it. I was afraid it would be a lot harder to learn to spin on because I haven't ever spun, on an e-spinner before. Thanks, Holly. I'm excited. I'm excited for me too. But, and I appreciate y'all's support because I know spinning is not most of y'all's thing, but maybe I can encourage you to get it to be your thing if I do it every once in a while. Anyway, there is a difference when you spin on a hand spindle, supported or suspended, either one. Those are different. And when you spin on a spinning wheel, a regular treadle spinning wheel, that's different. And when you spin on this, it's different from all of those. The drafting is similar. That's the thing that's the same. And so you have to you have to adjust the way you draft with the pull and everything of the machine, whatever kind of machine it is you're using. And but the difference between that I've noticed so far is, for one thing, my foot still wants to treadle. You know how when you watch a movie and the hero is in an intense moment and your body is kind of tensed up wanting to help the hero? Well, that's how my foot feels when I'm spinning with this. It's like it's saying, oh, where's my job? I have a job. Let me do my job. And so my foot is kind of tense, which I think is hilarious. Um, because I haven't spun very much in a long time because it makes my back and shoulder hurt to spin and my hips to spin on my regular wheel. So I'm very excited to get this. I spun for about an hour last night and had no trouble. So, hi Beth, I'm glad you're here. Your body remembers, yeah. I'm glad it does because I'd hate to have to start all over again from scratch. But anyway, I just thought I would show y'all a little bit of me spinning this this fluffiness that I made out of these that Tanya had given me. And it amazes me, it still amazes me that you can take a fleece that's set in a plastic bag for over 30 years and you can make it this fluffy again. And that just shows, well, it shows the quality of the fleece for one thing, this particular fleece, but it just shows the durability of wool that so many people, that's why wool, you know, back way when they used to do this and people, you know, a man might have one or two suits, wool suits, and he would hand them down to his sons because they were so well made, they lasted a long time. And a lot of that was because they had wool in them. So it's one of the resilience and the wearability and the durability of wool. It just amazes me. Besides, I always considered myself allergic to wool until I started spinning. And then I realized the problem is not wool itself. It's the kind of wool and the way it was processed and the way it was turned into whatever it was made by. Hi, Juanita. I'm glad you're here. That's what makes wool difficult to wear, itchy or whatever. This wool is very soft. Now, it's not as soft as some, but considering it came from a fleece that was set in the grease for 36 years, I think it's pretty good. But it definitely is not itchy. Anyway, I'm going to spin just a little bit with my new spinner. I'm really enjoying it, so I'm going to spin a little bit. That's true. That's true, Juanita. A lot of times it's the dye, and you do have to watch out for that. I don't know what Tanya dyed this with, and she doesn't remember because it was, 30 something years ago when she did it. But anyway, then this is I just washed this. I haven't done anything else to it, but I hand carded and made these little fluff balls. And I like to do it this way rather than rolling them the long way because I can hold this in my hand better. So I'm still not clear how she made the fabric scraps into the fluff ball. Okay, this is not fabric scraps. This is a wool fleece that was dyed. You can, it is not easy to do, but you can take you can take yarn and some loose weave fabrics and cut them up in small pieces and card them and mix them in with your wool to spin. I see people do that in art yarns a lot. But this is just a fleece that's been dyed. Hi, Mindy. Yeah, art yarn, right. And this is a pretty soft yarn, but it's not as soft as some of the merino that I've got. But I'm thinking this probably is a merino, or at least a merino blend. It might be a cross and not pure merino, but it fluffs up pretty nice. Anyway, I'm going to move this out of the way. I just wanted you to see that I turned this into these, and then we turn this into this, and then we weave with what we get off of here after we ply it. then we weave with it. So just think of all the different steps you get to play with this stuff. And all of it's fun. Every step is fun. So taking it from a fleece to fabric is it's a process with lots of steps and chances to enjoy. And some people enjoy certain steps more than other ones. I know people who do not want to mess with this. They just spin from top and they enjoy that. Um, I enjoy spinning from all different preparations. I just think it's all fun. It's all an experiment for me. I'm not a production spinner. I don't spin, tons of perfect yarn to knit a gorgeous shawl. I spin for joy. And so I have a bunch of, skeins of yarn that can't be reproduced. And, so they have to be used some way. Oh, sorry, no pottery wheel, Andrea. I'm glad to see you, though. I'm glad you're here. I'm just gonna spin a little bit with my new spinner because I'm having fun with it. And then this is a foot pedal, and I guess I could put it under my foot setting here. I haven't done it that way because I spun all of this other stuff on here. I spun that in my recliner. And let me see if I can get this in a better position. But it would be nice to be able to use my foot. And I used my elbow or my hand. One reason I love the foot pedal is because I'm left-handed. And so my instinct is to reach over here to turn it off and on if I don't have the foot pedal. And I'm scared I might actually hurt myself doing that because I don't think to reach with this hand. And so I really like having that foot pedal. Anyway, I've got it kind of at a slow speed, but I'll probably speed it up here in a little bit. One thing about going at a slow speed is I can get rid of some of this stuff. Woo! No, and you don't do that. That's what I do with my wheel. Stop it. That's not a plan with this because it just keeps going. And it might hurt you. So don't do as I do. Do as I'm trying to learn to do. And I'm doing this all from a left-handed perspective. And it's amazing what a subtle difference that makes. Yeah, the naps. I was trying to get a nap out and I ended up breaking it. But Juanita spins much better and she's much more professional or expert at it than I am. But anyway, I spin for joy. And sometimes you can just, work those in and leave them there if you're having trouble. Okay. When you turn it up, you have to also work faster or it piles up on you. And this, you can't make a perfect yarn. At least I can't if your preparation is not perfect. And with this old wool, and it does have a lot of neps in it, so you're gonna have yarn that has bits in it. Well, that was not a good plan. See, I got to learn how to use that foot pedal more often. Like I said, I'm still really new at using this thing, so it is different from using my spinning wheel. You spin to relax and other people enjoy your end result. That's cool. Yeah. It's not supposed to be perfect. It's supposed to have character. Well, mine definitely has character, Juanita. Oh, yep. Okay. I'm going to turn that back down a little bit because when I turned it up, I did more than what I can do to think and talk and spin and look up at chat and all of this is I can't spin as fast as I could if I was just sitting in my recliner and paying attention to what I'm doing. So, and I just realized that I got a notification popped up, and I'm used to having a hand that I can get rid of that. So I'm going to have to pause it here a second um, and get rid of that notification. Well, you know, just as I did that, it went away on its own. So who won? What did you win, Andrea? I missed what you won. Oh, no, it was Mindy who won. What did y'all win? Hi, Elvis. I'm glad you're here. A $50 Amazon card. Very cool. Very cool. Anyway, I just wanted to show y'all how quiet and easy this thing is to use. I'm really enjoying it. I can see myself spinning at night while Darren's watching TV, which means I'll probably be watching a lot of streams as a lurker for a while because I'm going to be spinning while I'm listening to streams for a while. So if I come in and say hi and then I don't chat, you'll know why. And I love how easy this moves. That's nice too. It looks a lot, you know, when you the yarn looks darker than the fluff, which I've always found kind of interesting because it's compressed, you know, so it the color is compressed as well. I'm going to switch fluff here, and you can see the difference between the heathered or tweed or whatever you want to call this, and the one that's just the red wool. And then after we've spun some on this, we'll switch over to the white again, and you can see all those sitting side by side. I bought a replacement motor for my Nano. I just have to replace it. Lucky for me, I know how to use a soldering iron. Yay! Well, the bigger motor that's in this one is one of the reasons I went ahead and bought it instead of the Nano. Plus, I wanted the bigger bobbins and the quietness because I do plan to use it when my husband is watching TV. Anyway, I felt like I'd been saving money for an e-spinner, and still, even though this one costs more than the Nano, it is it's way cheaper than most e-spinners, and so it was it was at the upper end of my spendability. So I was glad to be able to get this one. But a lot of the e-spinners I looked at, you know, I love wood, and I've been looking at those wooden e-spinners, the Ashford and the Hanson and all those kinds of spinners for a long time, but you can't get one of those, you know, much under $1,000 if you have 6 bobbins. And I got this one with 6 bobbins and a Lazy Kate and paid the tax and the shipping and all of that for $330. So that was about the limit of the money I had to spend on it. And I'm glad I did it. Holly's got some pages done in her Abandoning Perfection journal. Cool, Holly. I can't wait to see. Are you going to show us your pages and tell us what prompts you used on them in the group? I hope you will. Hi, Miss Allie. I'm glad you're here. I love the portability too. Yeah. Yeah. I went to the thrift store looking for some kind of case to put it in, and a lot of people were putting it in a like a carry-on suitcase or a Zuka bag, which there's no way I can afford a Zuka bag. So I just went looking, to see if I could find some kind of carry-on bag that looked like it would work and wasn't too huge. And I found this little bag, and it's by Swiss Gear, and I paid $10 for it. And then I came home and looked it up online, and mine was an older version, so I don't know what it sold for, but the version of this bag that they're selling right now sells for $90 on at Academy. That's the only place I looked because that's just what came up in Google. But when I looked it up, I found out that the bag itself is called a Swiss Gear spinner bag. It's like, yay, it's called a spinner bag. That's perfect. So $10 was about, all I wanted to spend on a bag to put this in, but I can carry it to guild meetings. I'm assuming we're going to get back to doing in-person guild meetings soon, I hope. But anyway, I wanted to be able to take it to Zoom meetings and on trips and that kind of thing. Plus, I wanted just a place to put it, and if everything's in that bag, then I don't have to worry about it. I can even keep there's room for the fibers, whatever kind of fiber I'm spinning at the time, to go in that bag. So, hi, Lori. I'm glad you're here. Sorry, no paint spinning today. And some of you may not have seen my the video that I put out this morning. I made it last night, but about unboxing this little machine. And I thought if you saw that, then you would know what I was talking about. I should have been more specific. Got you all excited about spinning paint, and I'm not doing that. It's funny. This is a lot more tiring on my hands sitting here doing this than it was in my recliner. And it's because I'm having to rest it on this and not it kind of in my lap, basically. In the recliner, I basically was resting my hand in my lap. It was very, very easy. I'm going to get a little bit more of this so you can see the difference really good. And then I'll switch over to the white again so you can see all three of those side by side. And then I'm going to work on my drum carder because I want to be able to make bats to spin from. And it's needed a new belt, drive belt, for a long time. And I finally ordered one when I realized I was going to get this spinner. So I want to clean it and put that new drive belt on it. So, oh, good, Lori. Thanks. Hi, Janet. I'm glad you're here. Talk about the quantities of white, red, and pink and gray on your spool. Okay. Let me. Okay. These three fluff balls are similar in size. They were when I started spinning. And the red and the white I mixed together to make this color. I didn't measure out amounts, so I don't know what those amounts are as far as, how much. This bobbin will hold 8 ounces of wool. And that's a lot of wool. If you think about a skein of yarn, they're usually like about 4 ounces or something. And this will hold 8 ounces of yarn. And so I would say I may have an ounce on here. This right here was the alpaca that I was spinning in the unboxing video. This is just a merino top that Hannah had some scraps of. She gave me to play with. And then I started spinning this one and now this one. And I just move this along so it fills up pretty evenly back and forth. I haven't done a perfect job of that, so I've got some ridges, but I'm still learning how to do that. Right, my arms are not in a good ergonomic position. That's true. It does make a difference. But so the quantities, it's just whatever I had. I had a lot of this. I barely had any of this. Of course, I spun this one all the way to about here. And then I started on the white and came back over the top of it. So I'm still going back over the top of it with these two. And then when it gets here, then I'll go back over the top, and then it gets here and I'll go back over the top, back and forth, so that it's, so I can keep it packed tightly till I get to a full bobbin. I'm not sure if that's what you were wanting to hear, Barbara, but I do have less than half of this color. I have more of this color than I do this in here. So, but you can see that this is kind of, it's not solid looking. Like this looks solid, one color. This is not solid. That's that heathered look I was talking about, because I mixed the two. And the more you mix them, the more solid it looks. If I kept on mixing and mixing, it would become more solid than this. But I like the way this looks. It looks like a tweed wool. So it's pretty. It's all one solid thread. I'm just adding different things onto it. So I had this, and then I added this, and then I added this, and now I added this, but it's all spun together. So yeah, it's all one solid thread, and it's just bits of stuff just to practice with. So who knows what it'll turn out. I'll probably chain ply it later for fun to see what it'll turn out. But what I'm doing right now is just playing and practicing using the machine. So I'm just using bits of stuff. So yeah, I guess you could call it variegated. But it's definitely not in any kind of proportions. Now, if I spun a bobbin that was this and this and this and this and this and this, and I just went back and forth over and over and over and over again, a whole bobbin, that would be a variegated yarn, because it would have three colors that are, and ideally you would weigh these out so that they weigh the same amount. And then you can, after, as you do that, each time you do one of these, it's the same amount as this and the same amount of this, and you go back and forth, then your variegation is pretty standard. To keep that looking like those three colors, you would have to chain ply it. So you're plying it with one piece, and that would keep the colors in their order with just a little bit of overlap. But if I did two spools variegated like that, and then I plied them together, then these variegations may or may not match up. You could try to make it where they do. If you start the same with the same one on each bobbin and all of that, you could make them match up pretty good. But I haven't ever bothered to do that persnickety of perfectionness. I just do what I want and enjoy the yarn. So Barbara loves making socks out of variegated yarn. Yeah, I would think socks would be a fun thing to do. Have you ever made a felted purse, which is knitted wool and then washed? I never have. I never have. Juanita calls them remnant skeins because they're usually made of small amounts of yarn left over from other bobbins. Yeah. And that's it. That's fun. I had one that I did purposefully. I took like 12 different bits that I only had like an ounce or two of, and I put them all in little pieces. So I would just have a little handful of each color, and I just intermittently would grab a different one. And I called it crazy quilt yarn because you never knew what was going to come up next, you know. And that was a lot of fun to do. That was when I was very, very first spinning. And so that yarn's way over twisted, but the idea was fun, and I'll probably do it again. Hi, Kimberly. I'm glad you're here. Party yarn. That's a good term for it, Beth. Navajo plying, chain plying lines up the stripes, although there's always some barber poling at the ends. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I started calling it chain plying because I have a friend in my guild whose husband is Navajo, and she knows that the Navajo do not ply like that. So she said that they may do something sort of similar at one time, and it got that name, but that's not how they normally ply their yarn. So I stopped calling it that because her husband was offended. Not really offended. He was teasingly offended, but I thought, you know, why perpetuate the falsehood if I can just call it chain ply instead? Hold on just a sec. Sorry, my allergies are really bad right now, and I was sneezing, so I had to pause and not make you listen to that. Well, not pause, but mute. I guess that's what it is. I made some fingerless gloves that I crocheted out of some of my hand spun. It's actually the only thing I've actually done with some of my hand spun yarn. I made a pair for me and a pair for Hannah, and a pair, I think it was Holly. I sent another pair too. I'm not positive, but I think I sent a pair to Holly because she was talking about how cold her hands were. And that's what I did with those. They've got the same yarn, but but they don't match. You know, this one starts pink and goes blue, and this one starts blue and goes pink or whatever. So that was a fun project. I'll probably make some more of those with some yarn that was spun a little bit better than what I used in that project. That was some of my first yarn. Hi, Nettie. I'm glad you're here. Yes, I'm playing with my new toy. Hi, Violet. Okay, I'm going to spin a little bit more of this, and then we're going to switch over to the white, and then I'm going to work on my drum carder because I really want to get that going. Okay. Uh-oh. I lost it. This is a lot easier to do on here than on my spinning wheel because the drive band on my spinning wheel would always try to go opposite from what I was trying to do. I'll turn the thing around, Lisa. Mindy, I hope I said hi to you. I'm not sure if I did or not. I think I did, but if I didn't, I'm glad you're here. Yep. I was doing it too sideways, and it's rubbing against this and making a noise. I was like, what is that noise? And I finally realized that's what it was. It's rubbing against that hole reducer, orifice reducer, so I'm going to come straighter. You can do that. It doesn't hurt anything. It makes more sound than it does if you're not doing that. Oh, I need to switch my hook a little bit. One thing about this that is hard to learn is how to hold your fiber, because if you hold it too tight, it can't draft. And so I'm not sure where I first heard the term. I think it was on a video. I was watching somebody. Oh, I can't remember her name now, but she's a hand spinner. She spins on spindles. Oh, what's her name? Anyway, she does Andean spinning and plying and stuff like that. She does a great job teaching. But anyway, she said hold your fiber like a baby bird, and like you're holding a baby bird, and that's how tight you want to hold it. You want to be very gentle and give it, you know, hold it just tight enough to keep it in your hand. Well, when it depends on how many fibers you draft out, Beth, um, and you may do, thick on purpose. But if you pull out and you draft from the end of where you drafted before, then you get that same yarn, whatever it is, whether it's thick or thin. If I reach in here and pull, then I get a thicker amount. And then I can go back. If I do, get less, I can go back and make a thinner yarn again. It just depends on how many fibers you grab and how far into your drafting, triangle you grab them. Now, this doesn't even look like I have a drafting triangle, um, but it's the same process. If whether it's in a pile like this or off of top, which does give you a good triangle. Yes, that's her, Abby. That's her. I enjoy watching her. I bought a couple of her video DVDs. I've bought some others too that I enjoy. There are some ladies one called Spin to Weave, and she's from New York. And I just know because she talks about being a New Yorker a lot, that she spins like a New Yorker. She spins fast and nonstop. um, I can't remember her name either, but I've got several DVDs of spinning tutorial type um, DVDs, because it was hard to, I had to teach myself. I didn't have classes to go to. So I watched these ladies and learn, and then tried to do some of similar to what they were doing. And it would have been fun to take a class, but there was no such thing offered around here. So I did find, after I finally taught myself sort of how to spin, I did find, the Weaving Guild, and there are definitely spinners in that guild, and they gave me some tips and things like that. But pretty much I just taught myself by doing it. It does take time. Yeah. And I know when I spin on my wheel, um, the getting the feet and hands to work together, that's the hardest part. And that's something you don't have to do when you're spinning on one of these. So in some ways, this is an easier, I would think, an easier way to learn to spin. But there's something, kind of romantic and nostalgic about a regular spinning wheel. And I enjoyed that. And I still have mine. I plan to spin on it some, but I can't spin as much as I want to spin on that because it's there's some icky stuff right there. Didn't want to try to mess with it while I was spinning. So, um, in fact, I'm going to stop right here. But you can see the difference in these three. And you can also see the difference in this and that, because this was a commercially prepared top. And not only did they use like the best wool, probably, but they also may have bleached it some. It was very white. So, whereas this is natural. Anyway, that is fun. I'm really enjoying my toy. And I'm going to go ahead and unplug it from everything so that I can move it away easier. We'll get this stuff out of the way, and then I'm going to see if I can get my drum carder to work. Hi, Suzanne. I'm glad you're here. Okay, I got to move stuff back and forth because I have only one place to set things, and I've got all my drum carder stuff set in the same spot I'm trying to put the spinning stuff. So okay, this is my drum carder, and I got it when we first started weaving and spinning. One of the I was asking in my homeschool group if anybody had some hand cards, these, that I could borrow, because I wanted to teach Hannah how to spin. Oh, come on. Oh, dear. Okay, that's not working. I haven't ever tried to take this apart before. Okay, I may be stuck trying to clean it on, in one piece. I was hoping I could take it apart. These two are moving. These are the two I tried before I got on. But I need to clean it, and I want to put a new drive band on it. This drive band is not as big as the one that was on it. And so it is, it's a little bit too big, actually. I'm trying to remember how it went. When the other one came off, it just broke and fell off from being brittle, because it was like from the 70s or 80s. That's when she got it. Well, this one has 4 spots. So it's not a figure 8. It's something else. And like I said, it came off before I figured out what it was, but I think okay, I had it figured out earlier, but it was too big. And so I've got to move something to make it smaller. But I really think it went like this. Okay, I'm not sure, but I've got to clean it before I can put that on there anyway. Well, I can't remember what I did, but I know that when I did it, I just popped it over that one. Ah, I wish I'd taken a picture once I got it on there, because now I can't remember how I did it. But I think it came down here. No. There we go. Like, no. Ah. Okay, I'm going to clean it first, because I was hoping to take it apart and clean it. See this, all this stuff right in here? I thought if I could take it apart, I could get all that out easier. That's just old ucky wool that got caught in there. And well, I will try. I will try, but to Google it. I Googled this brand once before and couldn't find anything. But that was, you know, quite a while ago. Let me see if I can tell you what brand it is. Oops. It's Inwood Smith. And I can't read the rest of what it says, but it just says Inwood Smith. So over the big wheel. Yeah. Well, I know that much. I got it over the big wheel. That's not going to work, but that would be the figure 8. Oh. Big wheel to furthest wheel. So do I go under this one? Or do I go over this one and this one? Okay, let's see. Could it be? I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it. I think it was more. I do know that I'm going to have to move this to that hole and bring it out here in order to make it make the band work. The bit to the furthest loop around the middle and then down to the bottom. So that's not going to work. That's probably not what you said. That's just what I'm trying to. Okay. Take it off the middle one, put it in between. But then where does this go? See? Okay. Put the loop around the middle one. Is this the middle one? So like this or like this. Okay, so like this. No, just the middle. Take it off the big one. Okay. Violet says there's a picture in the group. Maybe I need to go to the group and look at that picture. Let me go and look and see if that'll help me. Okay. Like this. And that is exactly how I had it when I was trying it out earlier, but I couldn't reproduce it. But it's too big. So, thank you. I appreciate that, y'all. I'm gonna move this to a further hole and see if that will give it the, because this is a skinnier band, it needed to be shorter. And but there is some movement here, so I'm hoping that that will be enough. Okay, we're going to take it off of here. Okay. You know, I used to work for an orthodontist, and I worked with tiny little things. But that was a long time ago. I've evidently lost a lot of that dexterity. Just get this in there enough that I can loop this around. No. Let's go ahead and tighten this a little, put this in some more. Okay. Okay. Now then, we can finish getting this in there. Okay. There we go. That worked. Ta-da! Yeah. Violet wins. That's right. Yeah, the blocks should move. And this one, The problem is I can't get this one to, oh wait, it did. Okay, let's see if we can. This one I can get to move some. Because the liquor in is supposed to be right next to those tines, and it's not, and they're not even. It's closer on that side than it is on this side. Let's see if we can get. We have to stand up. See if I can hold it here while I tighten that back down. Okay. This one, see, it moves, but I can't get these screws to move. Yes, it will. You're right, Juanita. It will. And I don't know how. I can't get this out either. I was hoping I could take it apart and clean it. But it's not made to be taken apart. So the best I can do is to let me put the handle on it. Hi, Katie. I'm glad you're here. Okay, see this right here is the problem. These won't turn, so I can't tighten this. So I've got to. Okay, maybe it's turning now. Ooh. See if we can get this one to turn. I really want it to go the other way, but no. Okay. I want it right there. Stay put. See, it's not going down enough to hold that in place. I may have to, whew. Well, I was gifted this. It was just a pure blessing from God through a sweet lady. She's the lady I bought my hand cards from. I bought my loom from her, and she loaned me this to use because she couldn't use it anymore. And she said, "You just use it until I'm doing better, and I'll call and ask for it back." And so I used it for about a year, and she never called me. And I finally called her, and I said, "I've still got your drum carder, and I feel really guilty every time I use it." And she said, "Don't feel guilty." She said, "What I didn't tell you is that I have cancer, and I'm sorry, and I'll never be able to use it again." She said, "You just enjoy it and make lovely yarn with it, and it's yours now." And I'm sorry, it's kind of hard to think about her, but So she gifted it to me. And it was, it had been sitting unused for probably 30 years or more when she gifted it to me. And then I haven't ever I've greased it and I've cleaned, in here like I'm trying to do now. But I haven't ever tried to take it apart before to really give it a good cleaning, which is what I was trying to do right now. So um I could have never afforded to buy one. I probably still couldn't afford to buy one. Well, I might could have found one that I could afford um instead of buying my spinner, but I wouldn't need it if I didn't have the spinner because I can't spin, very much on my other wheel anymore. And when she gave this to me, there's no way I could have afforded to buy one. So I'm getting it. And because I didn't know where to find a band for it. Um, I didn't, I hadn't ever really, whoops, let me move it a little bit. Well, I had never gone to this much trouble to clean it before. Because I knew it any minute would be its last moment until I could find um, another drive belt. And the people at, I think it's Fancy Kitty. I've got a card here. Yeah. At the Fancy Kitty products, she asked me to tell her how long it was, the drive band was, and I told her it was 35 1/4 inches, but that I knew it had stretched and it had gotten brittle and broken, so I knew it probably didn't need to be that long. And she said, "Well, you just order this one, and I will make it the size that I think should work." And so, even though it's not as big, this one's a 1/4 inch, and the one that was on here was a little over 3/8 of an inch. But you can't find those anymore. They don't make drum carders with that size belt anymore. Everything's about this size. So, oh, I bet that's sweet, Barbara. I bet you enjoy using that and thinking of your friend. Well, without this lady and her, she sold me an old fleece. It actually wasn't nearly as good a fleece as the one Tanya gave me, but it was a fleece that she had, and she had it hanging up in a uh, pillowcase so that it wouldn't get moldy or anything. And she gave me that fleece when she get to you, and she said, here, play with this drum carder and this fleece and see what you think about that, because that's a lot of fun. And it was a lot of fun. Well, no, because stuff stays in there. You have to. I see there's all this stuff. Even your hand cards have to be cleaned. Um, you have to clean your hand cards with something because you don't they don't clean themselves completely. At least mine doesn't. I always have to go in and pull out a little, some stuff. But it's this over here that's really a problem. Stuff that gets left on here is not a big deal. It just goes into your next bat unless you're a purist. But it's the stuff that gets wrapped around here and around here that causes problems. And that's what I was hoping to take it apart and clean all inside there, so that I could grease it up again and it would be clean and greased. But I can't get in there, so it won't be as clean as I was hoping it would be. Yes, Katie, those are treasures. I agree. It's a boring job. Yeah. Well, see, this is mostly clean. Um, Most of it you can just get with your fingers, but every once in a while you got these little bits in there that you have to use something else to get out. See, I'm pulling out little bits, but unless you're doing a white fleece and you've got some colored yarn, I mean some colored stuff in here, I wouldn't normally even bother getting those little bits out of the hand cards. And the same way with this. See, it's still moving on me. Now I had this in there. Just keep it from doing that. Because I can't get this to move. I can't get this to move enough to tighten this down. So I just put a piece of wood in there. And that keeps it in place, and it keeps these pretty even. Now they're pretty even since I tightened that one down and moved it a little bit. But one bad thing about this is this handle is so long. I have to have this at the very edge of my table to turn it. And that's not a real big problem, except when I'm trying to tape what I video what I'm doing, then it's harder. Because you just I have to clamp it down to the table anyway, because if it's not clamped down, you see this, I don't know if you can see that. I'll see if I can show you in just a second. Trying to get some more of this out. As I turn it, little bits are coming up. It is a lot like your kitty brush, except that it's big. I have some dog brushes that I've taught people to use instead of those hand cards, because dog brushes are much cheaper. Those hand cards are like $65 a pair, and you can get a pair of dog brushes for $10. So if you're wanting to do some hand carding, and if you get, they have some fairly decent sized dog brushes that will work. I think I need tweezers here. I've got some. Let me see if I can find them real quick. No, I moved them. Here's my my carding supplies. This is what I pull my fiber off on. This is what I brush it down with. Here's my the thing that I pull it up with. And then I've made some dizzes so I could dizz off roving instead of a bat. But those dog carders are not in there. I thought they were. The dog brushes, I mean. I thought they were in there, and they're not. But they're about this big, the ones that I have. So they have about this much right here. That's about how big they are. And that's plenty big to make something you can hold in your hand and spin from. It works fine. Slicker brushes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and if you buy the fleece, Katie, and the drum carder, then you can make your bats. But you can also flick. You can also flick your locks. Let me find us. Where did I put that? I have a flicker. This isn't it. This is bigger than the flicker. Oh, here it is. You can also use this to brush it down, but I use this to flick locks. Let me get some. Where did I put that? Oh. And you can buy a fleece and wash it and just buy one of these and use it and flick the locks yourself. And that's pretty easy to do. It takes a long time, longer than a drummer. I mean, than a drum or hand cards, but you just hold it really good there, and then you just flick out the ends. And what you're wanting to do is kind of clean up and fluff out your fibers, and then you twist it back here. Let me get that off. And you do the same thing to this end. I usually have a piece of leather in my lap, and I lay this on the leather and do it. I don't want to do it on the cardboard, but like I do on the leather. So I'm letting go of some that I probably could have kept. But then you got this, and you can spin straight from this. Just like that. And you just do a bunch of these little piles and put them in a bowl or a box, and then come back and spin them. So yeah, carding cloth boards. And I made my own carding cloth board, and it only cost me about $50 because I paid for the carding cloth, and then I just put it on a board myself. Let me find that and show you while we're looking at all this stuff. I found this board at a thrift store for 25 cents, and I stapled my carding cloth on it, and then I put this here so it would sit at an angle, and I mix and make the rolag, what I call pony rolags, on this instead of on this. If you don't want a whole lot, it doesn't. You can't use this to clean up your wool as good as you can this. This is just for mixing fibers, really. But this will actually clean up your yarn some. I mean, your wool. I'm going to put this over there, and when I get through with this, I'll pull that spinning wheel back out and spin this, and you can see that you can spin it straight from this flicked lock. But and I've done that. I've spun. When I was teaching people to spin, I would teach them as many different ways as I could to prepare their fiber, so that yes, lock spinning. That's true. You have to be a good dyer, though, to get your locks to not felt, so that you can spin them good. I haven't ever tried that myself because I don't have the right kind of sheep's wool to buy them and then dye. I mean, I've dyed some that was mohair, but it felted up. It would still, you can still add it in and it's still fun, but it's not as good as if you can dye the locks without getting them to felt. Yeah, this releases a lot of dirt. Let me show you. That just from turning the carder and pulling off little bits, this is what fell down. And more of it falls down under here when you're carding. So it cleans up your wool it definitely cleans your wool as it's working it, which is good. That's one of the nice things. So if you wash it and then you card it, and the drum carders do the, I mean, the hand cards do the same thing. A lot of the stuff gets carded out and it ends up in your lap or on the floor. So you have to be careful where you're working or come along and vacuum right afterwards. But um, anyway, I would like to try this and see if it's going to work. So I need to oil it first. And then I'm going to, the only clamp I have with me is this one. And that's the one that she gave me with it. I usually have some big clamps and clamp it down in several places, but we'll see if we can get it to work with just one clamp. But I need to oil it first. And I brought the oil out here. Mine was empty and I never refilled it because I wasn't able to spin. But I brought Hannah's out here that she uses for her spinning wheel. And now I don't see it. So where did I put it? I thought I set it right here. Frustrating. Because the last thing I want to do is lose her her bottle of oil since it's the only one we got. Okay. Maybe I didn't bring it out here. Maybe I just thought I did. Maybe it's still in the house. I kind of hope so because I have no idea where it is if it's out here. I'm going to take just a minute and run in and see if I can find that, and I'll be right back. Sorry, y'all. Okay. Sorry. I found it, but Hannah had some questions. We're having to have plumbing issues tomorrow. Plumbers come tomorrow, and she was um she's got to clean out her closet because that's where they're going to access um the stuff in the shower, and um they're going to have to cut a hole in her closet to access that. Okay, let's move this here. Okay, let's make it at least straight. Okay, I'm just going to run this a little bit so the oil can get all the way around. Ooh, just realized there's a bunch of stuff back here too. Oh, I have been a very irresponsible drum card owner to let that get back there and not clean it out before now. And it's funny because I clean it every time I use it. I think I'm getting stuff out, but it's been a long time since I used it. The last time I used it, I was kind of disappointed because the belt was not working, and I didn't get good bats off of it, and so that may have been when this happened, and I just got fed up and put it up. Okay, we're gonna let that be enough for now. I'm honestly not sure. Haha, that clamp won't work. That clamp won't work. My table is too thick. The edge on it's about that big, and this clamp is not that big. Well, we'll see what we can do with it the way it is. Let's just use some of this. And then, where did I put that red? One thing you need to do to use this is to, you can see how these fibers are very, hand cards probably really are better for getting this stuff off. I'm going to flick it some. Because if you put it in there like that, it's not going to spread out like you want it to for a bat. Okay, so I've got a lot of stuff out of it. There's still stuff in there, but there's a lot of waste in a fleece. Like I said, if I had my leather, that would be easier. Okay. So you take that. There's still some that's not done. Let's do it again a little bit. Okay. Pick out what you can, but there's always going to be stuff left. And then you kind of spread it out on the carder, and then you let it picks it up and spreads it out on the drum carder like that. And then you do some more. Now, if you're using top or some, a prepared fiber, this is a lot easier because you don't have to clean your, gunk out of it to get it started. Now, see, I could take it to this wheel and spin it right now and not have to do any more. But if I want to mix a bat or make a bat, I have to go the next step. Get the icky stuff off. You can throw that stuff, that extra not so great stuff, out in the yard for the birds and let them build nests. This time of the year that works. This time of the year they appreciate it. My husband, maybe not so much. I had some of that out there once and he was like, why don't you throw that in the trash? Why are you putting it, just throwing it out in the yard? The trash can's right beside you. I said, because the birds like it for their nests and make their babies have a nice soft nest. I'm sorry I can't read chat right now, so I'm not being a very good hostess. Okay. This may be trying to do too much at once, but I'm trying to kind of hurry. Now there's still this stuff in here, and that's quite a bit. So I'm just going to take that off because I'm in a hurry and a little bit lazy. And I have quite a bit of fleece. When I was first learning to spin, I had one fleece, and I was much pickier. I was much more willing to take the time to pick out stuff. Now, I don't know if y'all can see it right here, but there's a whole pile of dirt that's come out while I was flicking. So what's going in here is going on a lot cleaner than if I just grab this stuff and spread it out and put it on there. You can do that, but let me get a little more. You can do that, and it will work, but it'll take a lot more passes to get it to work. Hi, Katrina. I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry I didn't notice. Hi, Ruth. Hi, Sherry. I'm glad y'all are all here. And if there's somebody I can't see right now that's here that's new, you know, came in later. I'm glad you're here. I just can't, I can't read chat. I can't see it from where I am when I'm doing this. And normally, to be honest, I enjoy this process. I don't try to rush it like I am right now. But I'm not usually doing it, you know, on a live stream with people watching and possibly getting bored, wanting to see something a little more interesting than just some white stuff going on the drum carder. Where did I put the brush? Here it is. Yeah, there are a lot of reasons why it's better to clamp it down. That's one of them. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it because it it definitely takes some time and some patience. To be honest, nowadays that's it might be a good idea to, you know, to teach people to do this or to learn to do it, just to give yourself that quiet time, and appreciate the journey. It's, you know, because there's definitely not instant gratification with this. Well, that's not true, because it's very gratifying. The process is gratifying, but some of it is just takes time and patience. Sorry, I don't know where my leather piece is. That would make this much faster if I could card it. I mean, flick it onto the leather. Thank you. Hi, Angie. I'm glad you're here. Okay. I want to put some of this red on, but it's felted, so it won't be as easy to do. I may just do it on the hand cards and then put it in there, because the hand cards will open it up. It takes a little bit of time. Let's see if we can. Okay. Let me move the camera a little bit more this way so you can see what I'm doing here. And there are lots of different proper methods for hand carding. And my belief is that whichever one you learned first is probably what you consider proper. But since I just learned by doing, I don't know if this is the proper way or not. I do know some people think you have to only use one on, you know, for your left hand and one for your right hand, and you have to use the same one to pull off every time. And so you have to take it off and put it over here. I don't think that's necessary. And I don't know if it makes a difference in whether you've got flat hand cards or curved hand cards. Juanita could give you better information on that. Okay. I'm going to do this in 2 passes. And this is not as, whoops, not as clean, straight, perfect fibers, you know, as the flick carded stuff was. But that gives you some texture in your yarn. And when I do a bat, I'm generally looking for textured yarn, so I don't worry about that too much. But getting it to come off on here, if I hadn't done that, it would just come in there in clumps. Put my bird's nest material over there out of the way. Okay, so if we're going to take a bat off, we're going to have to add some more stuff, because this is so thin it won't actually make a bat yet. Let's see. Hi, Nana. I'm glad you're here. Oh, well, I do that, and then I'm going to have to go back and do some more hand carding, but that's just too felted to even bother with. Okay. Oh. Whatever you are comfortable doing that doesn't damage your cards and gives you fluff is the correct way for you. I agree. I agree. Okay. I'll do this in half again, and whoops, sorry. I'm used to having this thing bolted down, and it stays where it is. I'll try to do a better video of doing this somewhere where it's bolted down when I can figure out how to film that. I'd have to bring out another table and do that. So. Okay. All right, let's find something else to put in there. Oh, I'm bound to have something easy to get to. I didn't plan on doing this, and so I didn't get out stuff to add to it, but. Okay, this is some alpaca that I made into bits like this to spin, and then I never spun them. Another way that you can put stuff on here that will probably work for this is to paint it on. Let me get that. I kind of have to hold it down here. This is definitely a makeshift operation today. I've honestly never used this machine without locking it down, so. Let's go ahead and do a little bit more. And yes, Teresa, I very, very much enjoyed her visit. It was just great fun. Great fun. I don't know what this is going to do. I'm just going to fluff it up and put it on. Kind of destroying the work I did to get it into a spinnable shape, but that's okay because I probably was, because it had been compressed, probably wasn't going to spin it like that too much anyway. So we're just fluffing it up. This is alpaca, and it's got a very, very long staple. So you're not supposed to do that, by the way. Oh, I wish she could, Teresa, but I think they're going home a different direction. So they can see, more of the country instead of coming back over the same area that they traveled, when they left. Okay, we're gonna, that's not nearly as much as I would normally put on it, but we're gonna call it a bat and take it off. And then reapply. Well, no, here's some more. Let's go ahead and put this in there because I've already fluffed it up. I'm struggling because I really want to see what y'all are saying, but when I'm doing this, it's hard for me to see. So I'm going to pause a second. Okay, static electricity. Let's just go ahead. Okay. They make things to do this with that are specific for these, but that's a Dollar Tree. That's a Dollar Tree gadget. Let me pull this off, and then I will okay. Now you can do this two ways. One way is just to roll it, but no, I need it on this side. Okay, but I do it like this. Okay. So now I've got this. Which is technically a bat. But basically it's in layers. And we want to kind of mix those layers together. So I'm going to break it in half. All along the length. And then I'm going to put it in here. And I'm going to put it back on. And this is turning into a mess. And technically you're not supposed to do this either. You're supposed to just let this stuff stay where it is. But I think the people who say that, their machine picks up better than mine does. Okay. We're going to turn it this way this time. And let's go slow. Maybe it'll behave better. Okay. This process makes a much smoother bat if you're working with fibers that are the same approximate length. And we are not. We are not. I'm going to pause a minute and see. Hi, Angie. Hi, Dana. I'm glad you're here. It is much faster when you can clamp it to the table. That is true. When you're trying to be the clamp and the winder, it's not. And the spreader and the everything. Okay, but you can see how much stuff is on here. I'm going to take some of this out. You can use this brush and it's been so long since I've done this, I have to remember what direction to do everything. Some more bird's nest fodder. Okay. Oh, thanks. It's definitely variegated. The alpaca doesn't play well with the wool. It just it's not, it doesn't have the same kind of what do you call that? The little things on the fibers that make them want to hold together. Alpaca doesn't have that. Okay, the other way you can take it off is like this. But I never have as much luck with doing it this way. You have to pull it really close. Okay, so this is what our bat looks like now. So it's beginning to mix in. So we're going to, I think I'm going to do it in thirds this time. That way I can spread it out a little bit more. So there's one. I definitely do it in thirds or fourths or sixths, depending on how much stuff I have on there. I just don't have as much stuff today as I usually do when I'm doing this. I usually don't make a bat that's this thin, so. And my machine just likes to go slow if you want to get more stuff to go on. See that? That's a pocket of the alpaca. But you can see it pulling the fibers as it puts it on and kind of straightening them out a little bit. Attenuating the fibers is part of the process. It's part of what this does to line them up and make them easier to spin. Hi, Sue. It is a soothing activity. It's more soothing if you've got your drum carder clamped down. It's a little bit stressful right now just because it's not clamped down, but I'm still enjoying it. Move that so it doesn't grab the fibers. That spot right there. Wrong thing. I have a different little brush that actually packs it down instead of picking it up like that one. Trying to let it go in a little slower. Everybody says do not touch your fibers as they're going in, but sometimes that helps it pull them a little bit better for me. And then we've got this going on here. There are lots of no-nos. And when you're doing it for yourself, you don't have to obey the no-nos. You just do what works for your machine. Sometimes it helps for me to push it on, which is another time when it helps for it to be clamped down. You got to realize this is an old machine and its times are really far apart compared to the newer ones. So it's they all have their own idiosyncrasies, and you learn to work with what you've got. That's hey.
Hey. That's quite pretty.
I can't clamp it on this table, so I'm having to try to hold it, which is kind of frustrating. Everybody's being patient with me, though. Let's see, rough carding cloth for coarser wools, fine cloth for finer fiber and wools. Yeah. Beth says hi, Hannah.
Hi.
And I've put everything on here. Every kind of wool I have. So okay.
Just I tell you.
Thank you. Okay, you can let go now. Where's my I'm making a lot of bird nest materials. Okay, if you're going to stand here, you can hold it down. Hannah's going to be my clamps. I think if I could get this just a little bit closer to the liquor end, I wouldn't have to do this. But it will only go in this position, so. I might need to take it to somebody who has woodworking skills or something and get them to kind of, try to work with it. But I don't know somebody right off the bat that would know what to do with it. So I just baby it along. Where's my brush? Okay. Well, you're not a very good clamp. She's trying hard, y'all. Okay. What? Did you need something, or you just tell me what time it is?
No, just should I tell you what time it is?
Okay. Somewhere between 4 and 4:30, I'll get off.
Oh.
I'm planning to leave at 4:30 to shopping.
Okay.
Okay.
You'd only said you were planning to get off at 4.
Well, I know, but I do want to get this where I can spin a little bit of it for them before I get off. All right, where am I? Yes, my blending board is fine, and one reason I got it fine was because this was so coarse. I wanted something fine. Plus, I'm just using it to blend fibers that are already, usually already nicely prepared the way I want them to go in. So, and not to prepare fleeces and I use this to blend a lot too, but this works better for this skinnier bat. When I have thicker bats, they work better with my little bamboo placemat. Well, there's bunches of left-ons. And I'll clean the rest of that off later, but I'm going to move this out of the way now. Okay, here's my bat. So it's blended. Oh, I set it right down on top of all that stuff that came off the all of this. Can you see all that? I set my bat right down on top of that. That stuff. Which you don't want in your bat. One reason you card it is so you don't have that stuff in there. Okay. So there are lots of ways that you can spin a bat. One way is to diz it off into a roving. And you can no, she didn't tell me how old it was. But I thought she said she got the loom from someone in the 80s who had bought it. And I think she got the drum carder from the same person, and they had it for a while. So I would say it's from the 70s or 80s, but I'm not positive. It was 2013 when I got it from her, but she had not used it in 20 years or more, she said. So I'm not sure exactly when she got it. The blending board I made myself, and so I made it like 3 or 4 years ago. But yeah, it looks good just like this. It'll make a fun yarn. I think it'll make a fun yarn. But some people make giant roll-logs out of this. They just roll it up like this. And then they start right here and spin it. I find this too hard to manage. It's just too much for my hands. And I'm definitely not comfortable doing it that way. Another way you can do it is to diz it off, like I said, which basically is putting a little bit of it. Well, let me show you. I have several dizzes. This is one of those practice golf balls, but it works well. You just take a bit of it and put it through the hole. And I haven't done this in probably 5 years, so we'll see if I can even do it. And you pull and you push, and then you pull here and you push that down. And then you pull like that and push and pull and push. So you're basically like turning it into roving. This is easier for me to do if I leave it on the drum carder and do it. But you can do it from here, and then you're making a roving that you can spin. And I'm going to just break this right here and set that aside. And I wanted to show you these two things real quick, and then we're going to go. Let me get the spinning wheel back up here. Move stuff out of the way. I should have left it hooked up at least. And I didn't. So it'll take me a second. Not too long, but a second. Okay. So there's my power and my foot pedal. And then I need to set this over here out of the way. Oh, no, no, no. Don't do that. I'll just set it right there out of the way, which is not as out of the way as I had it before, but that's okay. Okay. All right. I'm going to set that there. And we're going to spin this first. This is just what I flicked. It's just fibers. And you choose which end you want to start from. I'm going to start from this end because this is the tip, the end of the sheath. This is where it was cut. And this is the tip end. And so that's what I'm choosing to start with. And I'm just going to put this beside this and let it pick up some fibers. And remember the baby bird. So you don't have to have a drum carder. You don't have to have hand cards. One little flick carder and or a little dog brush. You can use a little dog brush as a flick carder or as hand cards. And you can spin. You can spin with a spindle. You can spin with a spinning wheel. You can spin with this e-spinner. All of those will work with that preparation. The main thing is just to try it. Get some kind of something and try it. I started with a spindle, and then I got a spinning wheel. And I wasn't a great spindle spinner until I got the spinning wheel. And I worked on the spinning wheel for a while, and I got kind of frustrated because I wasn't that good at it either. And then I went back, and man, could I spin on a spindle after that. And I spun on a spindle for a while, and then I went back to my spinning wheel, and I could spin better on the spinning wheel because I'd been spinning on the spindle. So it's mostly just practice. And the drafting is the thing that takes the most practice. So I'm just going to tuck this in here and pick it up. This will make probably a this will be more barber pole-y. You can see more colors in it because they're lined up side by side. So they barber pole rather than being heathered like that, where I mixed them on the hand cards. I don't know if y'all can see that. I'll try to show you in a minute. Well, I'm just going to leave it. You're going to have bits that's all alpaca and bits that are all red and bits that are all white. And then you'll have the bits where they barb a pole, and it makes a really interesting yarn. Sometimes you have, you can put, um, locks in there and spin the locks. I don't, I haven't had much luck doing that. When I tried to do it, it kept getting caught on my hooks, and that was on my spinning wheel. So I gave up trying to do that. As far as leaving them long locks where they stick out everywhere, I've spun locks, but I just incorporated them into the yarn instead of having them hanging from the yarn. I'm going to try to spin it a little thicker, and then I can, maybe not that thick. I can ply it back on itself, and maybe you can see it. When you've been spinning thin, it's hard to make your fingers change the amount of fiber they pull. It's like they're saying, wait a minute, that's not the way you do it. Oops, see there, I went skinny again. Okay, we're going to leave that in there. We're just going to incorporate it in. And if you like art yarn type stuff, you can do that. Just incorporate it, bits and pieces in. When we get to the end here, I'll go ahead and ply some of this back so you can see. I really am trying to make some of it thicker so it'll be more obvious. Okay. I'm going to make a 3-ply. That didn't want to break off. Okay, so here's my, let's bring this in a little bit. Maybe you can see better. Here's my 3-ply yarn. My hands are filthy. Even with the washed fleece, you end up with dirty hands. I don't know if y'all can actually see that. See if it'll focus on it. It mostly just looks dark in the camera. There we go. Anyway, that's what that little yarn turned out to look like. There we go. There's a better. Trying to get it to. When it shows it on my hand, it shows it really dark. And it is fairly dark. Anyway, um, oh, thanks, Barbara. Well, I'm gonna have to go too. But that was fun, and thank y'all for being here while I got my um. And you can tell here there's a difference between this yarn and um and these finer yarns. So I hope y'all enjoyed that. Hi, Kathy. And I'll probably get my spinning fixed between now and next week. And next Thursday, we'll do some paper art. Oh, well, thank you, Patricia. I'm glad you're here. And thank you all for coming and letting me play and letting me work on my drum carder. Thanks, Joan. I'm glad you're here. Kathy, I don't know if I said hi to you. I think I did, but I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry that we're fixing to leave. You're welcome, Angie. God bless you all, and I will see you probably Monday night. Bye bye.